A sky full of secrets. The stars above you are not just lights, but whispers from distant worlds. Tonight, you look up, and space looks back. Among the shimmer lies the question, where else could life softly unfold? Your breath slows as your mind floats gently beyond Earth. Let's begin where wonder begins, with the sky. You lie back beneath the hush of night, and the stars arrive without needing to ask. One by one, they bloom, quiet lanterns strung across a dome of velvet black. They have always been there, but tonight you see them with softer eyes, not as points of light, but as echoes, as possibilities. Some glow fiercely, as if burning just for you. Others flicker, faintly, distant and reserved. You wonder, what lies beyond their shimmer? Are they suns like ours? Are they accompanied by worlds of their own? The air around you stills. Your body feels rooted to earth, but your thoughts begin to drift. You travel with them, upward, through layers of atmosphere, through silence, through space. The further you go, the quieter it becomes. And yet, in this quiet, the sky becomes more alive. You pass the moon, familiar and pale, and slip into the wide emptiness beyond. Earth now looks small behind you, a fragile swirl of blue and white. The stars grow thicker here, more detailed, more complex, and between them, the great darkness of space stretches on like a sleeping sea. You float, and as you float, you remember something beautiful. Most stars have planets. It wasn't long ago that we thought our solar system might be special, rare. But now, with new instruments and patient eyes, we've begun to see the truth. There are hundreds of billions of planets, perhaps more than all the grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth, more than all your dreams pressed together into the shape of a galaxy. Each one circles a sun. Each one spins in its own time. Some are scorched and stormy. Some are frozen in silence. But some might be warm enough, calm enough, familiar enough. Some might be waiting. Above you, a star twinkles, not from within, but because of the thick ocean of air between it and your eyes. That twinkle is just a distortion, but behind it, the star holds real gravity, real light, and maybe real company. You imagine, standing on one of those distant planets. What would your feet feel? Would there be soil? Would the sky be the same deep blue, or something stranger, a lavender dusk, a crimson glow? Would you feel the warmth of a sun on your skin, or would you breathe in cold silence? Would there be wind? Would there be rain? Would someone look up from that world and wonder if they are alone? The sky stretches endlessly, and yet this thought ties it together, that all across the universe, beings may be gazing upward, asking the same quiet question. Are we the only ones who feel this kind of wonder? You breathe slowly now, deeper than before. Each breath syncs with the rhythm of your thoughts. Inhale, the stars are far. Exhale, but not unreachable. Once, we looked at the night sky with fear, then with reverence. Now, we look with curiosity and the tools to learn. Telescopes rise like metal flowers, blooming toward the stars. Some sit on mountain peaks, some float in orbit, far from the trembling air of Earth. They open their eyes, not in light, but in shadow, listening to dips, to delays, to delicate dances of gravity. Through them, we have begun to see what the human eye never could. We've found planets circling stars, dozens, hundreds, even thousands of light years away, not by direct sight, but through suggestion, a flicker of dimming, a tug of motion, a spectral whisper. The planets reveal themselves not with a shout, but with a shiver, and in this subtle language we've read their names in starlight. So tonight, as you lie still and quiet, the question unfolds again. Could we live there? Could we build homes under a different sky? Could our hearts beat in harmony with a sun that is not our own? You don't need the answer tonight. You only need the question, full of wonder, weightless as stardust. Let it cradle you. You are small, yes, but not insignificant. You are part of a species that looks up, that asks, that seeks. Your curiosity stretches further than your hands ever could, and so you travel, even now, with your eyes closed. The sky is not a ceiling, it is a path, a map written in silence, folded in light. Let yourself rest here, in the space between thoughts, in the dark, where stars are born, in the quiet, where new worlds wait to be seen. You begin to notice a pattern, soft as breath. Some stars dim, ever so slightly, again and again, at regular intervals. A rhythm, not a voice, not a face, but something is passing in front of them. Something small, steady, unseen. And so begins the story of shadows, of how we learned to find planets, not by seeing them, but by the way they interrupt the light. Next comes the story of light and shadow, where planets reveal themselves, by passing in front of stars, where darkness is not absence, but evidence, where seeing becomes something altogether different. Light that carries a planet's name. Your eyes cannot see them, but telescopes feel their tiny shadows. Exoplanets reveal themselves in the faintest dimming of a star's light. Each flicker, each dip, a heartbeat from a faraway home. You ride on the rhythm of data, traveling without moving. The story of how we see the unseen begins here. The stars continue to glow above you, calm and unwavering. But now, after what you've learned, they feel different, as if each one is hiding something just behind its light. Not secrets in a cruel way, but in the way that the best stories begin quietly. You turn your gaze toward a single star, small, distant, no different than the others. But it holds a rhythm. Every few days, its brightness dims just slightly, then returns, dips, then returns. Not much, just a whisper in the glow. And yet, in that whisper is the presence of a planet, a world you've never seen, and may never seen, and may never see. But it's there, because it passes in front of its star, like a moth briefly brushing across a flame. This soft dimming is called a transit, a simple name for something profound, because with it you've just discovered a world that has never known your sun, your sky, your sea, a planet named not in sound but in shadow. You can't see the planet directly, but its story is told in the dance it performs with light. When it crosses its star, it casts a brief, perfect silhouette, not enough to notice with human eyes, but enough for a telescope, steady and patient, to feel it. These are not photographs, they're curves, lines that dip and rise, graphs that flutter like heartbeats. Each one is the echo of a planet, each one a message written not in ink but in light years. Imagine a firefly passing in front of a distant porchlight. Now imagine watching it from across a lake, with the wind still, and your vision steady, and your heart open. That's what these instruments do. And they've done it thousands of times. Thousands of exoplanets, discovered this way not by seeing, but by the way they steal a little light. Some are small and rocky. Some are giants of gas. Some whip around their stars in days. Others drift in slow, wide arcs that take years. And though they are all different, they are alike in one way. We've never touched them. We've never breathed their air. And yet, we know they're real. All because of shadows. A dip in light tells us a planet is there. But it tells us more, too. The size of the dip reveals how big the planet might be. Its timing shows how far it is from its star. Its color, subtle and sifted, hints at what its skies are made of. Starlight passes through alien atmospheres, and in that passing, it changes just slightly, like light through stained glass. These color changes are called spectra, and they are the fingerprints of air, hydrogen, methane, water vapor, carbon dioxide. Each molecule bends light in its own unique way. And by studying the bends, we glimpse what these distant worlds might breathe. You lie still and think of this, that the atmosphere of a planet, hundreds of trillions of kilometers away, can whisper its ingredients to us. Through the curve of a graph, through light that's taken centuries to arrive. You don't need to move to travel. You're already moving with thought, with wonder. Each star, a possibility. Each dip, a world. Each spectrum, a breath. We feel their presence in patterns. It is science, yes, but it is also an art of attention. Telescopes like Kepler, TESS, and now JWST are not just machines. They are dreamers with glass eyes, gazing into the dark for decades without blinking. And what they've seen changes everything. Because if there are this many planets, and if we can learn this much from light alone, then we are no longer guessing. We are listening, measuring, learning, and slowly. The blur sharpens. You picture a planet orbiting a red dwarf star, a twilight world. Perhaps its days dim, its nights long, but there's water in its atmosphere. A flicker in the data suggests clouds, temperatures that hover in the gentle zone. And now you wonder, not just could we live there, but could something be living there already? Life does not need to look like us. It does not need skin or bones or lungs. It only needs time, energy, a place to persist. And we've begun to find the places. Through light, through shadow. You listen for a moment, not with your ears, but with your thoughts. Because that's how most of space speaks. You don't rush, you let the mystery be. Not everything must be solved tonight. Some things, like stars, are best understood slowly, and now you find yourself wondering, not just about planets, but about where they sit in their systems. Some huddle close to their stars, baking beneath relentless heat. Others wander too far, frozen in quiet. But some orbit just right, the place where liquid water could dance, where warmth and distance hold hands, where a world might feel a little like home. You feel yourself drawn there next, to the delicate zone between too much and too little, where balance isn't just comfort, it's possibility. Next, you drift toward the Goldilocks zone, where a planet isn't too hot or too cold, where starlight nurtures rather than scorches, where the idea of home becomes more than a hope, it becomes a climate. The Goldilocks glow, not too hot, not too cold, just right for water, just right for life. Planets in the habitable zone sing a lullaby of balance. Your mind drifts through zones of possibility, bathed in gentle starlight. What makes a world feel like home? Maybe it's temperature, maybe it's hope. Tonight we float through the delicate dance of warmth and distance. You continue your drift, slow, weightless, carried not by wind or tide, but by the pull of curiosity, gently drawn now toward warmth, not the kind that burns, but the kind that welcomes. Out here, every planet is a candle held at arm's length from its star. Some are too close, flames licking at their edges, oceans boiled dry, landscapes glowing red beneath a furious sun. Others are too far, frozen over, still and silent, their surfaces locked in eternal winter. But between these extremes lies a gentle path, a quiet ring of space, like a halo around a star. This is the habitable zone, a place not defined by fire or ice, but by the tender idea of just right. Scientists call it the Goldilocks zone, named after a story where comfort came from balance. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. And here, that balance means liquid water, not scorched into steam, not sealed in ice, but free to flow, to gather, to nourish. Because where water moves, you picture a world in that golden band, its sun neither scorching nor distant, its air alive with winds that hum, its seas glimmering beneath skies that never shout. Maybe the trees there breathe a different chemistry. Maybe their color isn't green but silver or blue. Maybe there are no trees at all, just moss that glows under starlight, or clouds that carry whispers of biology in every raindrop. The possibilities curl softly around you. Here, warmth becomes something to listen to. Too much, and molecules unravel. Too little, and nothing stirs. But in the Goldilocks zone, chemistry has room to play. On the star, on the planet, on the way their dance unfolds. Around smaller, cooler stars, the habitable zone hugs close. Planets there might be tidally locked, one side always facing the sun, the other in shadow. But even then, there might be twilight. Bands around the planet's middle, where warmth and cold find harmony, where life could walk along the edge of light. Around brighter stars, the zone stretches further. But the risk grows too, for brighter stars live fast and burn out. How many things must align? How many balances must be kept? Not perfectly, but close enough, because life, as fragile as it feels, is also patient. Deserts, in salt-crusted caves and deep-sea vents. So imagine what it might do on a world that's just right. You close your eyes for a moment and build one. Its sky glows violet at dusk. Its air holds traces of something unfamiliar, not oxygen, but breathable all the same. Mountains rise slowly in the distance, not from tectonics as on Earth, but from the slow settling of layered dust. There are no birds, but something moves through the canopy, not walking, not flying, just moving. It's not about what's real tonight. It's about what's possible. The Goldilocks zone gives us hope because it reminds us that comfort can exist elsewhere, that life doesn't belong only to Earth, but to the gentle laws of physics and chemistry, repeating again and again, planet after planet, you begin. To understand why scientists spend decades measuring star temperatures, plotting orbital distances, running climate models on worlds they will never see, Because finding a planet in the habitable zone is like finding a page in a book where a story might begin, not written yet, but waiting. And slowly, your thoughts begin to shift again. You've felt the temperature. You've seen how distance and warmth can cradle life. But a planet's comfort doesn't come from heat alone. It comes from breath, from atmosphere. What is that air made of? Is it thick or thin? Can it trap heat or let it go? Does it protect or poison? Next, we rise into alien skies, where each breath is a question, and each atmosphere holds the key to life, or the reason for silence. Alien air, close your eyes and breathe, and now imagine breathing somewhere else. The air of another planet might shimmer with strange gases, thick or whisper thin. You drift through atmospheres unseen, soft as silk or sharp as stars. Can life float in clouds of sulfur or sing through methane winds? You inhale the mystery of alien skies. Breathe in. Feel the air press gently into your lungs, quiet, invisible, alive. It comforts you without needing to be seen. Now imagine that breath on another world. Imagine standing under a foreign sun, surrounded by air that isn't yours, air that touches your skin differently, that carries new scents, that shapes sound into alien tones. Atmosphere, the unseen ocean each planet wears layered, drifting, protecting or endangering, depending on what it's made of. On Earth, your atmosphere is mostly nitrogen and oxygen, a soft cradle holding warmth, water, and life. But on another planet, that balance could change. You drift now toward one such world, a pale orb wrapped in orange haze. Its air is thick, syrupy, heavy. The clouds glow with hydrocarbons. Rains fall, not water, but methane. Lightning crackles through the gloom, a symphony of chemistry foreign to your lungs, but perhaps not to life. Could something live here? Not you, not as you are, but maybe something that breathes differently, something that floats in the thick, clouded skies, drifting like jellyfish in the ocean of air. Atmospheres shape everything. They trap heat like blankets, or let it escape like whispers. They block harmful radiation, or invite it in. They sculpt climates, winds, storms, and the rhythms of life that rise within them. Some planets wear their atmospheres loosely, barely holding on to wisps of gas. The air there is too thin, too warm a surface, too quiet to carry breath. Others clutch their skies tightly, with atmospheres dense enough to crush, to press against the ground with invisible weight. You pass over a scorched world, its sky a haze of carbon dioxide, its surface baked beneath clouds that trap heat. This is the greenhouse effect in overdrive. The same effect that warms Earth turned fierce, relentless. You watch this world shimmer like a kill. Rocks melt, winds howl, and yet scientists still search its skies for signs, for molecules that don't belong, for patterns in the chaos. Because atmospheres aren't just blankets, they are fingerprints. Each one tells a story of how a planet lives or dies. Through spectroscopy, the reading of starlight filtered through air, we learn what these distant skies contain. You picture it. A telescope catches the faintest glint of a star. As a planet passes, some of that light slips through its atmosphere. The gases bend the light, subtly, precisely, and that bending leaves a signature. Water vapor, ammonia, ozone, methane, each one a whisper from the air of a far-off world. Some signatures hint at warmth, some at storms, some just, maybe, at life. On Earth, oxygen is a sign of biology. It is made and kept by life itself. So when we find oxygen elsewhere, we lean closer, we listen harder. But even without life, atmospheres are rich with stories. They tell of volcanic breaths, of ancient oceans lost to space, of meteor impacts and shifting winds. You drift toward another planet, its atmosphere tinged with blue, not from water, but from strange particles scattering starlight. The clouds swirl, high and cold, and beneath them, a glimmer, maybe a lake, maybe just shadow, maybe something more. You float lower, letting the wind carry you. The air here is thin, but not empty. It hisses quietly against imaginary skin. If something lives here, it may be small, burrowed beneath the surface, or drifting in the upper layers of cloud, shielded from the stars' radiation. Atmospheres can hide life or reveal it. On Earth, even the smell of a meadow, the scent of rain, are the breath of biology at work. You think of Titan, one of Saturn's moons, not a planet, but cloaked in atmosphere, so cold that methane flows like water so dense, its sky is thick and golden. And yet, scientists have dreamed of floating boats in its lakes, of flying through its skies with wings shaped for heavy air. Because even alien atmospheres, if they are stable, rich, and full of chemistry, may offer more than just breath. They may offer shelter and story and surprise. You imagine standing on a planet where the sky is green from copper particles, where clouds form from crystals of salt, where lightning flashes in rhythmic pulses like a distant, slow heartbeat. Could you live there, not as you are, but maybe with help, with suits, with habitats, with new lungs grown from science, or maybe, one day, with a body slightly altered, tuned not just to survive, but to feel at home. And now you think atmospheres are more than breath. They are how a planet touches you, how it wraps around you, unseen. They are the conversation between land and sky. Tonight, that conversation floats with you. You breathe in once more, softly, grateful for the air around you now, but dreaming of the skies you'll never touch. And as your thoughts settle, a new idea drifts in. What if, beneath all those alien skies, there are oceans too, hidden, endless, flowing in silence, waiting to be felt? Next, we sink beneath the clouds, into worlds covered in water, where shores may never form, and the deep may dream in silence. Oceans without shores, some planets hide their seas beneath ice, silent and still. Others glimmer with endless waves, no land in sight. You sail across the hush of liquid worlds, where the surface never sleeps. In the deep, could there be life that dreams? The waves pull gently at your thoughts as we drift onward. Asterisk, close your eyes. Imagine standing on a shoreline with no opposite shore, no horizon of hills, no edge of land, just water, as far as thought can stretch, an ocean that never ends. Now imagine that ocean isn't on Earth, it's on a planet hundreds of light years away. A world of waves and weather, of liquid silence and drifting skies. You are floating there now, not in a boat, not in a body, just drifting, carried by curiosity, gentle as a tide. Some exoplanets, we believe, are covered entirely in ocean, no continents, no mountains, no desert. Only water. Water that may stretch across an entire globe, deep enough to swallow Everest twice over. Scientists call them ocean worlds, blue giants, soft giants, water worlds, each name like a lullaby whispered by the stars. These planets may have been born from ice, their hearts warm from internal heat, their surfaces kept liquid by pressure and chemistry, by the protective hand of atmosphere. You imagine such a place. A sun hangs low, warming the waves just enough. Clouds gather in soft spirals. Rain falls in infinite rhythm, not as storm, but as breath. Below, the water waits, silent, still, ancient. You drift just beneath the surface, where light still dances, fracturing and bending, painting shapes across the deep. There is no land to anchor thought, only currents and temperature, salt and time. Could life be here? Could it float, small and slow, in these vast liquid plains? On Earth, life began in water, in the deep, in the dark, where sunlight never reached, at the mouths of hydrothermal vents, where heat met mineral, and something began. Not all life needs sunlight. Some feed on chemistry itself, on gradients of heat, on the meeting of salt and stone. So why not here, on a world of ocean, where the sun is distant, but the planet's core still pulses? Maybe there are vents on the ocean floor, like black chimneys, releasing warmth and elements into the waiting dark. Maybe strange organisms cluster there, not swimming, but simply existing, drifting, breathing. Life doesn't always shout. Sometimes it only hums. Now, let's go deeper, deeper than light, deeper than warmth. The pressure builds. The weight of water presses inward from all sides, yet it feels protective, like the weight of a thick blanket, like silence that holds, not harms. Some ocean planets may be thousands of kilometers deep, and below the liquid there may be layers of exotic ice, not the ice you know, but forms compressed by gravity, hard as rock, but born from water. And between those layers may be pockets of warmth, may be places where water and heat kiss again, and chemistry stirs. And on other worlds, perhaps colder ones, oceans may lie beneath shells of ice. Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, is like that. From afar, it's just a frozen moon, but beneath its crust, there's likely a saltwater sea, protected, persistent. Scientists believe Europa has more water than Earth. Imagine that. A moon smaller than ours, holding more liquid, more potential. Enceladus, to Saturn's icy pearl, has geysers that spout water into space, traces of salt and organic compounds glittering in the plume. A cry from the deep, a whisper from below. We haven't touched these oceans yet. We haven't seen their floors, but their presence shapes the way we dream. Because where there is water, there might be life. Not because life needs water in all forms, but because water carries memory. It dissolves, transports, reacts. It cushions and coats, preserves and protects. It is a medium where molecules can meet, and meetings are how life begins. Back on your imagined ocean world, you float upward again, toward the surface. The sun is a blur through the water, a golden haze that grows stronger as you rise. The waves meet the sky in silence. They rise and fall in slow patterns, unbothered by the absence of wind. You realize now this world might not even have tides. Without a moon, without continents, There are no crashing shores, no waves as you know them, only ripples, long, slow, planetary breaths. Still, an ocean moves. It churns from within. Its currents carry warmth and chemistry from one pole to the other, seeding the sea with life's possibility. And if we were to visit such a world, if we ever touched down there, how would we live? We couldn't build on land, because there would be none. We'd have to float, to drift, to anchor in the sea like trees rooting into water. Or maybe we'd live beneath, in habitats warmed by geothermal heat, drawing power from the planet's own pulse. Or maybe we'd just listen. We'd send probes. We'd drop sensors into the waves. We'd wait for signs, a pattern in temperature, a strange shift in chemistry, an unexpected ripple, a rhythm. Because life, even in water, leaves a trace, a chemical signature, a bloom of gas, a spike of heat, a signal that something, somewhere, is doing. And if we ever hear that signal from an ocean without shores, it will change how we see ourselves. Because oceans are not just features, they are mirrors. They hold the sky, they hold time, they hold the first echoes of life. Tonight, as you lie still, let yourself float in that idea, not in fear, but in awe. There are planets, real, reachable by mind, if not by feet, where oceans hum beneath alien suns, where the deep waits not in silence, but in patience. And just beyond those waters, orbiting giants or drifting alone, are moons cold, forgotten, and possibly alive. Small places, but full of surprise. Next, we glide to the moons, where warmth may lie hidden beneath ice, and the smallest bodies may hold the greatest mysteries. Moons that might be home. Not all worlds orbit stars. Some orbit other worlds. Jupiter's icy Europa, Saturn's hazy Titan, moons with secrets under their shells. You float among these quiet companions, listening to their frozen whispers. Could the smallest bodies hold the greatest surprises? Tonight, your mind lands on places smaller than planets, but no less alive. The planets take center stage, big, bright, dominant in the cosmic dance. But if you look just beside them, tucked in orbit, small and silent, you'll find their moons. And some of these moons may be more alive than the planets they circle. You drift now between giants. Jupiter looms like a marble spun from storms. Saturn wears its rings like a whisper. And around them, dozens of moons circle, each with its own rhythm, its own skin, its own hidden story. You pause near Europa, one of Jupiter's closest companions. From above, it looks like a frozen eye. Its crust is streaked with cracks, lines of tension and heat drawn over ice. But beneath that crust lies a liquid ocean. Scientists believe Europa hides a global sea beneath tens of kilometers of frozen surface, an ocean warmed from below, not by sunlight, but by tidal forces. Jupiter's gravity stretches Europa, pulling at its insides like kneading clay. This constant tug keeps Europa warm, even so far from the sun. Now imagine, in that ocean, no light but warmth, no air but salt, minerals, motion. Could life be there? Not plants or fish as you know them, but maybe microbes, maybe colonies of simple life gathered near warm vents, drifting in the black. You drift closer, gently pressing against Europa's ice. It doesn't crack, but you know what lies below. A sea that has never seen the stars. A sea older than your language, waiting. And now you're pulled toward Enceladus, a small moon of Saturn, smooth and pale. It seems unremarkable until you see the plumes. Geysers erupt from its southern pole, spraying water and organic molecules into space, like a message, like a breath. We've flown through these plumes, tasted them with sensors, and what we've found: water, salts, simple organic compounds. And where organics gather, life might follow. Enceladus is tiny. You could walk its circumference in days. But beneath its crust is a warm sea, and warmth means motion. Motion means chemistry, and chemistry might mean life. You drift further, reaching Titan, Saturn's largest moon. It is strange and golden. Its atmosphere is thick, thicker than Earth's, but cold. So cold that methane flows in rivers, collects in lakes, falls as rain. Titan is the only place beyond Earth where we've found stable surface liquid, but not water, methane, and ethane, chilled to minus 180 degrees. Still, it has weather, it has rivers, it has dunes and clouds, it has a cycle. Could something live in that cycle? Life that doesn't need water, but drinks methane instead? We don't know. But Titan gives us a new question. Is our kind of life the only kind possible? Maybe not. Maybe the rules bend, given time and pressure, and what's impossible here becomes ordinary elsewhere. You drift across Titan's surface. Golden mist clings to you. The lakes are still. The silence is total. But inside there is motion. There is pattern. You've spent so long thinking of planets, their size, their distance, their warmth, but now you see something else. That moons, small, cold, hidden, may be just as promising. That life may not only survive in the spotlight, it may thrive in the shadows, because life is not prideful. It seeks shelter, not glory. It grows where it can. And moons, these overlooked companions, may offer the gentlest cradles. You pause in the dark, floating between moons and thoughts. You feel the pull of gravity, not just from planets, but from ideas, from the quiet realization that life might be waiting in the smallest places. And now you begin to feel a force. Again, not just gravity, but weight itself. The gentle pressure that holds you down, that tells your body it belongs somewhere. On Earth, it's familiar. But on other worlds, gravity changes, and with it, everything. Next, we feel the pull of invisible hands, and explore how gravity shapes not only worlds, but the way your body might feel, move, and rest among the stars. Gravity's gentle hand, you feel your body grow lighter, then heavier again, pulled by forces invisible and kind. Gravity sculpts a planet's shape, its air, its tides, its time. On some worlds, you could leap like a dancer. On others, barely. Lift your head. Each planet has its own gentle tug, its own rhythm of weight and rest. Let's feel what it means to fall softly in different skies. Gravity touches everything, but never asks to be seen. You've never held it in your hands, but it holds you softly, persistently, from the moment you were born. Now, imagine letting go of Earth's familiar grip, just for a moment. Imagine floating and feeling yourself slowly drawn something new. That's how a journey begins on another world, not with a step, but with a fall. You begin to drift through space again, passing planets, large and small. Each one reaches out with invisible fingers, a pull, a curve, a promise of wait. this is gravity. Not just a force, but a feeling. It's what gives planets their shape, what holds their air in place, what calls rain to fall and rivers to run. It's why moons stay faithful in orbit, and why oceans rise and retreat in rhythm. But on every planet, gravity has a different voice. You picture walking on Mars, a smaller planet than Earth. Their gravity is about 38% of what you're used to. Your steps become light. Your jumps rise slowly, arc longer, land gently. Your muscles don't struggle. Your bones feel younger. It's like moving through a dream. Now imagine the moon, where gravity is even softer. 1/6 of Earth's. You could leap meters into the air, turn lazily mid-flight, drift back down like a falling leaf. And on Jupiter, you wouldn't even stand. Its gravity would pull with such strength that your body, your lungs, your heart, your bones would all feel the crushing press. Of course, Jupiter is a gas giant. There's no surface to stand on. But even floating in its upper atmosphere would feel like wearing the planet itself. Now you begin to see how gravity isn't just a number on a chart. It's how your body would learn to be. Your muscles grow strong on Earth because Earth pulls on you. Your bones stay dense because they're used to resistance. Your sense of balance, your blood flow, even your heartbeat, they all obey gravity's quiet rhythm. So what happens when that rhythm changes? In microgravity, like aboard the International Space Station, your body forgets. Bones thin, muscles soften, fluids shift upward, a puffy face, a pressure behind the eyes, even your sense of direction begins to drift. And when you return to Earth, you feel it all again, the pull of home, heavy, familiar, grounded. Now imagine living on a planet with just half of Earth's gravity. You'd move easily, but your body might begin to lose its strength. You might need weighted suits, resistance exercises, just to keep your frame whole. Now picture a planet with more gravity, one where every movement is work, where lifting your arm feels like pushing through syrup, where jumping is impossible and walking requires effort your body isn't used to. Would we adapt? Eventually, human bodies are remarkable. They reshape themselves in response to their world. But gravity is more than biology. It's architecture. A planet's gravity determines how tall mountains can grow, how thick the atmosphere remains, how fast a rock falls, how long a day can last. Without gravity, nothing holds. With too much, nothing moves. And in between, in that Goldilocks middle again, life finds space. You pause over a planet that's just slightly smaller than Earth. It pulls a little less, not enough to weaken you, but enough to lighten your stride. The sky is wide. The clouds drift slowly. You feel it, not freedom, but possibility. Then you imagine growing up there, children who leap higher, bones that form differently, games played in 3 dimensions, a culture shaped by the way bodies move through space. Because gravity shapes not only matter, but meaning. What does heavy mean on a world where nothing is? What does falling mean where there's no fear in it? And when you look up, you wonder if gravity tugs gently at everything. Does it also tug at time? It does. In the next moment, you begin to feel it. A stretch, a bend, time, slowing down, not everywhere, only near massive bodies. The stronger the gravity, the slower the seconds pass. This is not science fiction. This is general relativity. Gravity doesn't just pull on mass, it pulls on time itself. So on different worlds, not only would you feel different, you would age differently. And that quiet truth leads you gently into the next question. Next, we drift into slower moments, where time flows at different speeds, and even a second can stretch like a dream. Time moves differently. There your heartbeat ticks the same, but time bends in space. On massive worlds, time stretches like honey. You drift through days that last years and nights that never end. Could life bloom under a slow sun, or in a dusk that never lifts? Tonight, time becomes a soft river, and you float without rushing. Asterisk. Close your eyes and listen to a second. There it just passed. Clean, simple, steady. On Earth, time feels fixed. A clock you trust, a rhythm you follow. But in space, time loosens. It bends. It breathes. You begin to drift again, slowly, across the curve of a distant planet. A giant, massive, noble in its silence. Its presence is so strong, its gravity so deep, that even time itself bows gently around it. Your watch would still tick. Your heart would still beat. But compared to someone far away, time, for you, would move just a little slower. This isn't poetry, it's physics. Einstein showed us that time is not separate from space. They are woven together, a single fabric, and gravity tugs at it, softly but truly. The more massive the object, the deeper the gravity well it creates, and the slower time flows nearby. Imagine standing near a neutron star, so small, so dense, its gravity would stretch seconds into silence. 1 minute for you might be hours elsewhere. You wouldn't feel it. You wouldn't sense anything wrong. But someone watching from afar would see you moving like a slow tide, like molasses poured across stars. Now drift to a different kind of time, planetary time. Not about gravity, but about rotation, about the rhythms of days and nights. Some planets spin quickly. A day lasts only a few hours. Light and dark flicker like a strobe, and life would have to adapt to constant change. Others turn slowly. One day could last an Earth month or a year. Imagine a sunrise that takes a week to climb, and a night that wraps around you for seasons. Would you sleep longer? Would flowers bloom and fade in a single day of light? Would thoughts stretch out with the sunset? Some worlds are tidally locked, one side always facing their star, bathed forever in light, the other a permanent night. On such a planet, time takes on texture. The same hour feels different depending on where you stand. On the sunlit side, time is brightness and heat. Photosynthesis never stops. Shadows never shift. On the dark side, time becomes cold and still, like living in a pause. But along the edge, that twilight band between day and nighttime might feel balanced. A place where life could live in an eternal sunset, in golden light that never fades. You float along that edge now. The sky is warm, not blinding. The air hums, slow and calm. This world doesn't rush, it doesn't push. Time here is not a line, but a loop, a soft spiral of moments. And what about perception? Your own sense of time? Even on Earth, it changes. In dreams, seconds become hours. In memory, years collapse into flashes. When you wait, time stretches. When you wonder, it disappears. So how would your mind hold time on another world? Would your thoughts slow down on a planet where nothing moves quickly? Would children on a long day planet grow thinking differently about hours, about urgency? Would a year feel long enough? You think of life cycles, of migration, of sleep, all timed by the planet, by the rotation, by the orbit, by the rhythm of light. So on other planets, life would evolve to dance to different clocks. Maybe creatures bloom only once a decade, when the sun finally returns. Maybe sleep isn't nightly, but seasonal. Maybe memory becomes deeper because fewer things happen in a day. Or maybe we would bring our clocks with us, Earth time, digital time, ticking away in suits and ships. But eventually, you'd have to listen to the rhythm of the place. Time isn't just motion, it's feeling. And now, you wonder if time can flow differently, can life begin differently? Not just when or how, but what life looks like, how it signals itself. Because next, you begin to search for signs, for clues, for patterns, for anything that suggests something is already out there, living. Next, we learn to listen differently, to light, to air, to rhythms in the dark, for signs that life has already begun to speak across the stars. We look for signs, a breath of gas, a flicker of color, a rhythm that isn't random. Your thoughts trace the curves of possibility. You learn to listen, not with ears, but with wonder. The signs are faint, but so is every heartbeat at first. You're floating again, not toward a planet, but toward a question, a soft question. Beneath telescope domes, inside silent labs, and wandering minds, are we alone? To ask it is to stretch your soul across space, to listen not just with tools, but with trust. It may barely breathe, so we look for patterns. The first whisper we chase is atmosphere, not just whether it's there, but what's in it. Imagine a distant world, its star dimming ever so slightly as it passes in front. Our telescopes catch that light, and hidden in that light are signs, tiny fingerprints left by the planet's air. We search for gases that don't make sense. Trees, algae, bacteria. If you find too much of it on another planet, you wonder who or what is making it. Same with methane. It can come from volcanoes, yes, but it also comes from microbes, from digestion, from the breath of life. We sift stars like sand, looking for air that suggests activity. But atmospheres are only one whisper. Sometimes we search for color. On Earth, chlorophyll makes leaves green. It's how plants drink sunlight. Maybe, on another world, life uses different pigments. Maybe the forests are red. Maybe the grass is black to absorb more light. So we look at planets, not just for shape, but for hue. A regular pulse from deep space. A signal that doesn't seem random. We found such a thing once. A fast, repeating signal. Regular. Bright. We called it the wow signal. For a moment, we wondered, but it never came back. And space is full of mysteries. Still, we keep listening. Because sometimes life isn't loud, but it glows, it builds, it leaves behind structure. Maybe out there, some life form is building something slowly, beautifully, not to be seen, just to be. We also search for heat, planets that seem too warm, places where energy is moving in ways that feel purposeful. Could that be cities, engines, or just geology? We don't know. But the search isn't always about finding answers. It's about learning how to ask better questions. And then there's the possibility of biosignatures. On Mars, we've found strange readings, organic molecules, seasonal methane, not proof, but questions, humming louder. And on Enceladus, remember that little moon with plumes. Those, again, not answers, but invitations, invitations to wonder. And so you do. You drift gently through your thoughts, now realizing that life, if it's out there, might not look like us. It may drift, or cling, or glow. It may exist only for minutes, or for millennia. It may not even want to be found, but maybe, just maybe, it's trying. And what if it's already reached out? That structures exist on the far side of moons, that comets carry seeds of biology. We haven't proven these, but they remind us we're not just looking outward, because the most powerful sign of life in the universe is you, your breath, your wonder, your ability to imagine someone else wondering too. And if we go, if we send ships, or messages, or colonies, we become the whisper. We become the signal, the anomaly, the pattern someone else might one day detect. Life finds ways to announce itself, even quietly, even through the distance. Because to be alive is to affect the world, to change chemistry, to move atoms, to radiate. So the universe is watching, not with eyes, but with its fabric, its light, its silence, broken ever so slightly by life's pulse. And now you begin to think, if we ever find something, some trace, do we listen longer? Do we go? The moment we discover life elsewhere, we change, not just as scientists, but as a species. It becomes one example, not the only one. And that changes everything. How we define life, how we define home. Which brings you to the next thought, the final drift. If we do go, if we step out into those foreign skies, what do we become? Do we stay human, or do we slowly, quietly, become something new? Next, we imagine the arrival, not just at a new world, but into a new version of ourselves, and gently ask, if we go, who will we become? If we go, who will we become? To live there is not just to move, it is to change. Your body, your rhythms, your dreams would adapt to new light, new air, new gravity. You imagine walking softly on a world not your own, feeling it slowly become familiar. Will we carry earth in our hearts, or will those hearts reshape? And as you drift to sleep, you wonder, maybe we're already preparing to belong elsewhere. You stand now at the edge of something, not a cliff, not a launch pad, but an idea, the idea of leaving, of stepping across the boundary from dreaming to doing, from Earth to everything beyond. You've wandered through skies and seas, moons, and gravity wells, and now the question lingers quietly. If we really go, who will we become? You imagine stepping onto a new world. Maybe it's warm and golden, with low gravity and wide skies. Maybe it's cold and dim, with thick air and slow suns. Your feet touch unfamiliar soil. Your breath adjusts to filtered gases. Your skin begins to learn the new starlight. And slowly, you begin to change. Because to live somewhere is to belong to its rhythm. Your body is shaped by your world. On Earth, you've adapted to its gravity, its 24-hour days, its oxygen-rich air, its magnetic shield, its background hum of life. On another planet, each of those things is different. So you would change. Maybe your bones would thicken or thin. Your muscles would shift to match the new pull. Your sleep would realign with longer or shorter days. Your thoughts might slow or race. Even your language might stretch. New words for light you've never seen, for landforms never mapped, for feelings that come only in alien dusk. Would we still call ourselves human? Or would human begin to mean earthborn, while something new blooms far away? You think of the generations that would follow. Children born under two suns, not migrants, but natives. Their first steps wouldn't feel strange. Their gravity is their normal. Their sky, their seasons, their myths, and earth, a story, a place in pictures, a distant blue dream they carry in blood, but not in bone. Would they be like us, or something gentler, stranger, more in tune with silence and distance? We talk of terraforming planets, of reshaping Mars, thawing Titan, giving oxygen to dead moons. But maybe planets will terraform us, slowly, gently, changing how we breathe, how we move, how we think. This isn't a tragedy, it's growth. Just as fish became walkers, and walkers became speakers, and speakers became dreamers. We're always becoming, and space might just be the next mirror. But in all this change, what do we carry? We carry stories. We carry lullabies, the memory of trees, the sound of waves, the warmth of a familiar gravity felt in childhood. Bones, we carry Earth even when we leave it behind. And maybe Earth isn't just a planet. Maybe it's a way of being, to be kind to life, to be curious, to build with hope, not conquest. Because if we arrive on new worlds with only machines and measurements, we might miss the miracle. The miracle that life, real life, needs more than survival. It needs connection to the land, to each other, to the rhythm of a place. You imagine walking on soft dust, your boots making the first path. You look up at unfamiliar stars. You breathe, adjust, settle. You feel it, not just wonder, but a beginning. Because going there is not just about exploring, it's about expanding what it means to be alive. And somewhere in your mind, another question floats in like starlight. What if we're already becoming ready? Our thoughts are growing bigger. Our science is reaching farther. Our imagination is stronger than fear. Maybe the journey isn't just ahead. Maybe it's already begun. With every telescope aimed upward, every rover that rolls across a lonely world, every child that points at Saturn and asks, could we live there? We take one more step. And now, as your eyes grow heavy and your breath deepens, you feel it, not an ending, but a hush. Like the moment before the first step, like the quiet before dawn, like a heartbeat about to echo on another world. And so you sleep. Beneath the stars you now know by name, carrying Earth inside you, and drifting softly toward wherever home may one day be. Tools.